Hi, my name is Lucas Bauer, and today I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to sing and properly take care of your voice. First step I'm going to be talking to you about is mouth placement, how the mouth is supposed to be formed and where the tongue is supposed to be. When it comes to mouth placement, you always want your mouth to be as tall as possible. You don't want it to be wide. So instead of singing like most pop singers do today, when they sing like, ah, you want to be more like, oh, where your mouth is more open. So an example would be if you were singing a note and you were like, ah, the vowel is more precise, it's more pure. Most times when you're talking to children, they don't know what you mean when you want their mouth to be tall. And that's when you bring in your handy-dandy Larry the Tennis Ball. Larry the Tennis Ball will teach the kids everything they need to know. When a kid is singing very, very wide, you can show them Larry and be like, this is what you're singing like. You're singing like, ah, and you want them to move more towards the open when they go, ah. See, Larry the Tennis Ball will work on kids and it will work on you too if you get yourself one. Tongue placement is a very difficult thing for singers to try to grasp because there's so much going on in your mouth. The last thing that you want to focus on is where you need your tongue to be. 90% of the time you want your tongue to be behind the bottom of your front teeth. So if you were to say, hey, and then you were to analyze where your tongue is, it would probably be behind the front of your teeth. So if this was your bottom set of front teeth, you want your tongue to be gently resting right here. So you might have to talk like this. You kind of want it glued on the bottom. So when you're singing, it's flat and it's out of the way. So you're not having to get tongue-tied, because that's usually what happens. Your tongue's just flailing everywhere in your mouth, and you can't sing because it's over here, it's over there. So just get it down right behind the bottom teeth. The next item on the list is posture. I would say that posture is one of the most important roles in singing. Without proper posture, your lungs cannot expand fully, your hips will not be aligned properly, and you just look uncomfortable. Proper posture should be standing tall, but not at attention. Your shoulders should be slightly back, and your feet should be shoulder width apart. Do not put your hands in your pockets. Keep them at their sides. There should be a straight line going from your ears to your heels. Your knees should be slightly bent. If you do not bend your knees, you will pass out within minutes. So one more time, the tips about posture are you want your lungs to expand fully, you want your hips to be aligned, you want to be standing tall, stand with pride. You don't want your hands to be in your pockets, and do not bend your knees because you will pass out. Breathing. Talking about breathing seems very ridiculous because we do it every second of every day, but is extremely important. How to breathe. This is a very simple yet very difficult concept to grasp. When you're singing properly, you should be tired afterwards because of all the work that your diaphragm is doing and that you are doing. When you breathe properly, your belly should go out a little bit and then your chest should start to come up, but not in a very erratic movement. Like, you don't want to do this. You want to keep your body as aligned as possible. And when I mean that, I mean you don't want your shoulders to move when you breathe. You want to keep them down and have a low flowing breath. The reason I'm telling you this is mainly for safety purposes, because you don't want to strain your voice or hurt yourself while you're breathing. And yes, it's possible to hurt yourself while breathing. I've done it before. It is not fun. You're probably wondering to yourself, how do you hurt yourself while breathing? Well, when you're singing a song, there's so much going on that you're not focusing on just your breath. There's so much going on with your mouth, so much going on with your posture that sometimes you forget how to breathe. And then when that happens, you take the sudden breaths that tense up everything in here, and then that's when sometimes something gets a little popped out of place. That's exactly what happened to me, and it hurt so bad. So after that, I had to really focus on how I'm breathing. What am I doing? And it just takes a lot of mental control in order to do that. And that is why I'm teaching you how to breathe properly. The last tip that I'm going to give you is about healthy singing. And this includes some sub-tips that I'm about to explain. Step A, you want to drink water. You need to stay hydrated because it hydrates your body and it hydrates your vocal folds, which is extremely important because you don't want to sing on dry vocal folds because that's how you strain your voice. B would be diet. You need to have a proper diet. You cannot be eating all this disgusting McDonald's food. And, I mean, you're an athlete. Singers are athletes. You need to treat your body as you would if you were playing a professional sport. C, do not yell while you are singing. If you cannot hit the high grace note, don't hit the high grace note. I mean, you don't want to belt, because that's what most singers do. Instead of singing comfortably when they're just going, ah, they want to go, ah, and go for like the glory note. You don't have to do that. Pull back. Do not pull up your chest voice in order to try to hit the note that we all know you cannot hit. And the last tip is avoid eating or drinking dairy products before a vocal performance. What dairy does is it produces mucus that covers your vocal folds, and that's why you always hear people before they sing clearing their throats going because they're drinking all of that milk and it just covers it and it doesn't let your vocal folds vibrate properly. Thank you for watching my video on how to sing and properly take care of your voice. Hopefully you learned a lot and you will use these tips in the future. Have a good day!